He's a KTRS legal analyst. And Greg Willard, you, in terms of full disclosure, were an attorney, a White House attorney for President Ford, and then you went on to become his personal attorney afterwards, correct?
Worked in the White House. I was not an attorney when we were in the White House, became an attorney afterwards.
Okay.
And then in that capacity served as President Ford's personal attorney.
So you sit in a unique position to have a conversation about emails and secure documents and what is and isn't appropriate and so on and so forth. So we brought you in to talk about Hillary's emails and classified information because you handled classified information in your role in the White House.
Oh, most certainly.
Yeah.
And also afterwards.
So is this a whole bunch of nothing, or is there something there with this?
Remains to be seen. Let me see if I can set the stage, McGraw. There really are three different categories, if you will, of controversy.
Okay.
The first is a sitting Secretary of State of the United States having all of her official email correspondence on her private email on a private email server which was kept in her home.
Right.
That's a government records issue. Second category is, were any of those 31,000 emails, were they stamped with a label that said classified?
Okay.
The third, and the much more troubling, is, was secret information, classified information, maintained on that email server in her home? The seriousness of that has given rise to two inspectors general referring the matter to the FBI. And let's be clear, it is not a criminal referral, it's a counterintelligence referral as to whether secret information was mishandled. That's a very serious situation in Category 3.
Okay, let's start with the first one. First of all, I know she's a Secretary of State, and I know you get a lot of emails as a Secretary of State, but she deleted thousands and thousands of emails, and she says they were personal. I know they were about Chelsea's wedding, but are there that many emails going back and forth over what to get the groomsmen for the wedding?
Well, there were, as I understand it, there were about 65,000 emails. 31,000 she and her advisors say they have gone through and culled them out as official. Mm-hmm. And the others they have culled out and they have been deleted. The server has been wiped clean. I think as a technical legal matter, what she did as Secretary of State probably met the policy. The policy has since been changed.
Right.
But there's a wonderful irony here. A lot of her defenders are criticizing that this is all a partisan witch hunt. Mm-hmm. And they can't understand why people are so upset about these emails being deleted and copies of the official emails, not the emails themselves, copies of the emails being given. Well, we had a similar situation in the 1970s, McGraw. President Nixon had tapes of conversations.
Yes.
He had transcripts of the tapes made and turned over the transcripts.
Yes.
McGraw, if instead he would have said, here are the transcripts and I have deleted all and destroyed all of the tapes, there would have been a hue and cry we could have heard here in St. Louis from, among others, an attorney on the House Judiciary Committee, one Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Oh, there you go. Oh, interesting.
So history comes full circle.
I don't think that's been pointed out. And in fact, Nixon's secretary deleted 18 minutes of those tapes.
Well, whether Rosemary did it or someone else, but there was an 18-and-a-half-minute gap that has become something of an infamous gap.
But a transcription of a tape is a little bit different than a copy of an email. But your point is well taken. If it's a copy, it can be doctored. And if it's a transcript, you can sort of mix and match certain sentences to leave out important parts.
Right, and I don't think anyone has suggested, I'm certainly not going to suggest, that the 31,000 documents of the emails that have been turned over have been doctored. I think the bigger concern, McGraw, is the metadata, which underlines the electronic file.
Right.
The metadata could be very important, and I think that was what a number of the investigators were hoping to see, which now they will not, but they get the text. I don't think there's any suggestion the text has been altered.
Okay. Now, this part two, and that is, was anything she had on this unsecured server stamped top secret. She says no. They say yes. And in a sense, both are right.
This is probably going to be the easiest question to answer.
Okay.
Were they stamped secret, classified, confidential, or were they not? People will go through and we'll make that determination. And we will find out, check the box, Category 2 has been answered.
Right, but
it's Category 3 that's the more troubling issue.
We'll get to that in a second. But she says they weren't, and then we find out that they were classified top secret afterwards. So she sent them when they weren't classified, then they were classified afterwards.
Right, but again, that's why the second category, in my judgment, is a much narrower category. Either they had a stamp or they didn't have a stamp. The point is, whether a document is stamped classified or not classified, you don't necessarily classify documents, McGraw. It's the information.
Right.
And some information is top secret when it is born, when it is uttered, when it is written down.
Right.
It is secret at that point, and whether you or I stamp it classified, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's secret at that moment.
But it seems like, and this is why it's so confusing, is we all have emails, and we all have important work emails we get that aren't necessarily top secret national security classified, but if our competitors find out or something the public finds out, they don't want, people knowing what the KTRS memo is about dress codes or whatever else, or, you should say this and you shouldn't say that, or whatever the memo is. And then I get an email from my sister telling me don't forget Christmas dinners at 4:00. So we all live in this world where work and play is on our phone. And so how do the public officials go about dealing with their jobs in this high-tech world?
I think most, if not all, but substantially all, use government-issued devices that have very, very intricate protections to deal with classified information.
Right.
That's back up to Category 1, which is troubling. Secretary Clinton did not.
Right. She didn't want to be bothered carrying two devices.
Well, but
that's her excuse.
Right. My children would tell me, Dad, you can have 5 email accounts on one device. But be that as it may, it's that third category. And let me give you an example.
Yeah. Let's get to the third category.
Secretary Kerry today, hypothetical. He's involved in the Iranian nuclear negotiations, and he writes on a piece of paper, a scrap of paper, the Iranian foreign minister has told me X, Y, and Z, that the position they're going to take in the follow-up negotiations, and he hands that to somebody.
Right.
That is classified information, McGraw, even though he didn't write at the top, classified, secured, compartmentalized, SCI, secured, compartmentalized information. Mm-hmm. That's classified information on that sheet of paper.
How do we know what's classified and what's not classified? You just sort of...
That's why you have to be so careful when you work in those circles, when you're dealing with information like that. Mm-hmm. You have to be so careful not to inadvertently mishandle secret information.
Right.
Labeled or no label, who cares? It's the information that we don't want our enemies to have. Okay,
so this third one is the biggest one, in which you say, was the information compromised?
Was the information compromised? And that's where 2 inspectors general from the State Department and the intelligence community have made referrals. The FBI is now investigating, not as a criminal matter, as a counterintelligence matter. And I think we'll find out how much secret information was on those emails. A significant number, I think over 300, have been preliminarily classified out of, I think, 6,000 that have been reviewed.
Right.
But your question is, I think, the ultimate question that needs to be answered. If there was classified information, was it compromised?
Okay, so hypothetically speaking, I have top security clearance, so do you. You hand me a file. You say, McGraw, read this. I get into a cab. I leave the file in the back seat of a cab. The cabbie calls me and says, oh, by the way, you left this in my cab. I'll hold on to it. I won't look at it. He doesn't look at it. It gets back into my hands. No one looked at it. As opposed to, I leave it in the cab. The cabbie looks at it and then gives it back to me. Is one, I'm wrong? Both I handle it inappropriately. But one, no one sees the top secured information. The other example, somebody does. Am I more wrong if somebody sees it as opposed to just stupid for leaving it in the cab in the first scenario?
We both are wrong. In your hypothetical, I had top secret information, and I handed it to you in a folder in a cab.
Right.
We both have committed a violation because that information cannot be handled outside of a SCIF, secured, compartmentalized information facility.
Huh.
You can't be carrying classified documents, top secret documents like that, McGraw,
Walking down the street.
outside of a SCIF.
Right.
And so we both have committed a violation. Technically, if the cabbie looked at it, that makes it even worse than if he didn't. But in terms of...
So by definition, since this is an unsecured email, if she has classified information on this email device, that's outside of this protected
It's not
SCIF.
a SCIF. Her home in Chappaqua was not a SCIF. Give you two real-world examples. John Deutsch, David Petraeus.
Okay.
Both former CIA directors. Deutsch maintained significant amounts of classified information on his computer at his home.
Outside of the...
It was not a SCIF.
Okay.
Petraeus did the same thing. Petraeus was prosecuted, pled guilty, and sentenced to that violation.
Mm-hmm.
Deutsch was investigated. Reports were that he was about to be enter into a plea agreement, and on January 20th of 2001, he was pardoned by Bill Clinton.
Interesting. All right. So bottom line this for me, Greg Willard, KTRS legal analyst, White House aide to President Ford, and then his attorney after he left the White House. The bottom line this for me. If they determine that she had top secret information sent to her on this email account, which was not secured, she, by definition, is as bad as all these others, Petraeus and everybody else.
She would face similar legal considerations that Petraeus and Deutsch both faced. As to how serious those might be, we'll have to see. As to what the political ramifications of that might be, we'll leave that to the voters. But again, I think to summarize, in terms of having a private email, I think it's great fodder for the political talking heads.
Right.
I don't think that's going anywhere. But the third category, we need to wait and see what the facts are, but it could be very serious.
But they keep saying, their defense is that it was stamped top secret afterwards. And you're saying that doesn't work that way. If it's top secret, whether it has a stamp on it or not.
Top secret information can be top secret when it is born, when it is uttered, when it is written.
But are there also times where it's not and then it is?
It's possible that you could retroactively classify something that at the time was not classified, was not secret, and then you subsequently do. But secret information can be secret at birth.
That is Greg Willard, KTRS legal analyst and an all-around great guy. Your day job is a St. Louis University professor of law. Greg Willard, thanks for coming in. Great stuff.
Great to be with you, McGraw.
825 here, Big 550 KTRS. Appliance Discounters, ladies and gentlemen. That's where you want to go for your newest appliance. At Appliance Discounters, you will save big. Big bucks, no whammies. They have ding and dent appliances. They also have in the box, never been touched by human hands. Take you 45 minutes to take all of the styrofoam out. Appliance Discounters will save you money because they will, one, save you money on the purchase, and then two, save you money on the delivery, the pickup, the drop-off, the hookup, and the carry-away. I know this firsthand. I saved about $500. Went to a big box store, was going to pay $500 more. I thought I was getting a pretty good deal. Then someone told me to go to Appliance Discounters. I went there and I saved an extra $500. Got the color and the style and the name brand I want. All name brand, ding and dent appliances, high-end luxury, regular ones. Appliance Discounters has it all for you, and it's a St. Louis company. ApplianceDiscounters.com. The happiest customers, the unhappiest competition. Appliance